Good morning, YouTube. Hope you're well today. I have an interview in a few hours. It's a 15-minute interview. If I take the bus there, I don't know, it'll be like a 30-minute one-way trip at least. So I'm tempted to buy myself a Lyft, even though I really need to save my cash right now. But either way, I'll make it there. It's at a college the college I graduated from, and it happens to be kind of in the boonies, not too far from everything, but yeah, you're gonna drive 10 minutes through the woods. Uh, and the bus system was changed here recently, so there used to be a direct route from downtown to the college, but now you have to transfer. Or I think it goes through another station first. So anyway, it's a longer trip than it used to be. Not a big deal. I have another new friend that I met through. I think I mentioned this, our hometown subreddit. I posted about what's going on, and a guy who has an RV and two cats messaged me because he had been homeless in his early 20s, and he wanted to see if he could help, or he just wanted to see if I could hang out, and we could get to know each other. And it was really good to get to know him. And he was telling me about what he's been doing to try to earn some income. And he took a job that was like, I think he said it was 5 hours by bus, at one point. um, I just don't have that. I would end up having a meltdown at some point on the way there, or when I got there, or on the way back. I used to live in San Francisco, and was, it's a beautiful city, but I didn't like it because it was too much. It was just too much for me. And I would try to get to work in the morning, and I would I would have to take two buses, and to connect to my second bus, I'd have to wait at a crosswalk that had, I don't remember if it was like 8 lanes, but it was a really huge road with a big plant divider in the middle too. And so there was no safe um, way to dart across the street if I had to catch the bus. So frequently I would just watch it come and go. And instead of being on time or early, I would end up like just a little bit, like almost late. Um, and I'd be so mad. I didn't know I had autism, but I'd be so mad that I would just like, I would want to like break the glass on the bus stop. I'd feel like I was holding myself back so hard from that. That's just an awful way to start your day. Um, yeah, when I moved up here to Washington, I liked that I was able to drive to work, and that the traffic wasn't crazy. Usually, it can get bad for sure, but nothing like the Bay Area. Not usually. So, I'm going to be going out there by bus, or I'll take a Lyft, and that's fine. Um, I applied for a substitute job through my school district, or for the school district. It's actually not through the school district. It's through um, a state organization, I guess. So I'd be like contracted out to the school district. And um, the person I asked in HR um, even told me the specific one I should apply for, which made me feel a little bit weird. But when I scrolled through all of the jobs, I mean, I agreed with her, and she's been working with me for the past few years on my issues with medical leave and needing accommodations. And the job she suggested I choose is for a para-educator bus monitor substitute job. So you go to the bus depot in the morning, and you're on the bus when all the students get on, and you monitor them, and then you go home for a couple hours, and then you do it again for the afternoon go home routine. And my ex kept telling me I should apply for that job, and I didn't want to. I was too hung up on things staying the way they were. I didn't want to not make as much money as I was and then have to try to figure it out. And I wanted to be an equal participating partner, and I was stubborn, and then everything fell apart, and I couldn't find a job. And then she broke up with me because I was having meltdowns all the time on top of everything else. And so now that substitute bus monitor job looks really good. And I don't know what's going to happen with all the resources I've applied for. I'm supposed to hear soon about unemployment. I really, really hope I do, because I got to pay my rent. This month was paid for, thank goodness, but in 4 weeks I have to figure out a new way to, and it can't be those my old ex brother-in-law. It has to be, I have to figure this out on my own. So unemployment needs to get back to me and give me a yes, and or this organization needs to set me up with housing, and or um, something else. Yeah, um, my sweet kitty cat up there is the one thing that I can't stand to part with. Um, and it's funny because I met that new friend with the RV and the two cats. Sorry about the fingers. And his cats are way cuddlier than my cat is. They were crawling all over me. My cat doesn't crawl on me. The most he'll do is he'll jump up here, and I have to just like notice him, and I can maybe pet him a little bit. But usually, if I touch him, he darts away. But these two cats were crawling all over me and just were insatiable about the pets. And yeah, even so, I could not, I never ever could part ways with my cat Doug. He's my baby. I love him to pieces, and the ways that he likes to cuddle, I'm happy with. You know, I yes, I have to crawl onto the kitchen floor while he reaches under the refrigerator for his toys that might not still be there, but he just likes to scratch under the fridge and have me scratch him, and um, lay there with him, and I love it. I live for it, and um, so the worst case scenario, I guess, is that I will move into a vehicle, a Honda CRV that I don't yet have, but in an emergency, I could. I have a way to come into the possession of that through a family member. A 1999 CRV that's supposed to be in good condition once they get it fixed up, and I can't afford to have a vehicle right now, but if I have nothing else to live in, that will become my shelter, and it's gonna suck, but I'll be able to hang out in there with Doug for a bit. And my friend said that he could take Doug sometimes, and yeah, I'll figure it out. You know what's interesting is that yesterday, when my ex brother in law met me at the cafe to give me the rent check, he also showed me a little comic he had drawn of the time that he almost got evicted, about 10 years ago, before he got together with his partner that he married, that I, um, what do you call that, was a witness for it. He and my ex were the two people that were there to watch them get married in the court. That's like a thing you have to have. And um, when they got into their relationship, my ex brother in law was about to be evicted, um, or well, their roommate hated them and was telling them they had to leave, and they didn't have an eviction notice yet, but they were planning on hunkering down and fighting it. But then it got really hostile, and unfortunately, their new boyfriend and them were able to find a place to go stay together, and the rest is history. and they drew a cute little comic about it, and it made me kind of wistful or something in a way. Not that I expect that I'm gonna meet my true love who's gonna help me sort this out, but like, um, I appreciate that life works in mysterious ways, and that although it's been my worst nightmare to have all this stuff happen, I, if I'm being honest, I do acknowledge that I'm living a more authentic life now than I was before. I was sort of hiding in this imaginary comfort zone, and I loved my partner. I'm I love her. She's a great friend of mine, but she acknowledged it before I would that I don't think she's cold, but she said, I'm kind of a weird cold person, and you should find a nice spiritual girl or something like that, is what she said, because I would frequently talk to her about my spiritual feelings, and she would listen and smile and nod. But if she told me her opinion, it was that she didn't feel that way, that she's basically an atheist, and she feels like, you know, bad things happen to good things happen to bad people, and they do, and it's random. And I felt that way for, I don't know if I could say most of, well, yeah, maybe most of my life. I'm 34, and I think I was spiritual, but I had periods of calling myself an atheist, and I didn't like fully break away from any atheist feelings until I was probably 25. Because life just got too weird. I didn't have any like crazy overt like angels coming down and telling me shit, but actually I did have weird visions at times, and I'm not saying that they were real and not some kind of manifestation of inebriation or mental illness, but I had weird experiences that were like very synchronistic and led me from San Francisco, where I just said I wasn't happy, to back to Washington, where I had wanted to return ever since I left in 2014. So by February of 2019, I ended up back here, and the process felt so magic that by the time I was here, I was almost manic, like not literally, like I was sleeping and I didn't have very intense delusions, but I thought that I was so excited that life was working out, and oh my god, what's coming next? And then the old friend that I moved up there because I thought we were gonna be together forever, we dated for like a month or two, and then she broke up with me because I was so intense. Sometimes I would just go into this thing like, yeah, you're my twin flame. I saw all these synchronicities, and like, yeah, you're my and she told me not to say that because it was weird, and then I said it again, and so she broke up with me, and I don't blame her. It's weird, but like I said, I was so convinced that something crazy, wild magic was happening, and when she broke up with me, my life got really, really difficult because the roommates that I was excited to live with, you know how it is, like, it's hard to live with people, but one of those people was kind of a bully, and other people told me that they think they're a narcissist, and I felt that way too, because I wasn't allowed to have opinions. If they yelled at me about something and I defended myself, it was almost like they'd start foaming at the mouth, and they would swear at me, and their anger would go like to level 15, and I wasn't allowed. I just had to shut down and just be like, okay. And I hated it, and I was miserable, and I was hiding in my room all the time, and I was miserable, and I didn't know how to get out because I couldn't save enough money to just move. So then a couple, maybe 3 years later, yeah, it was 3.5 years later, the whole thing started happening again, where my life started feeling like, wow, this is really working out. This is so much fun. This is so cool. And I reconnected with my another friend from college that I had had a crush on, and we started to date. And I moved in with her, her twin, her brother, and his partner, and we all lived together for a year. And then she and I lived together for 3 years, and then she broke up with me a month and a half ago, and now I'm talking to you. And it's weird because that happened, but I don't feel like, yes, I've been very depressed and sad and heartbroken, but I don't feel that kind of like hollowed out depression that I had the last big breakup I went through. Um, and I actually feel like better than I ever have in my entire life. I have more self respect, and things are less stable than they've ever been. I have less guarantees of stability than I've ever had, but also I feel like the stuff that I'm working on that might be my new life is more authentic to me. Like, I've been working since I was 18, and I never thought that I would stop, and I was trying to build a career. I went to grad school, blah blah blah. Couldn't graduate because of my burnout, but I never expected to stop working until I was going on medical leave from melting down. And then my doctor, without being asked to, wrote on this form for unemployment that I can't work. He didn't specify it was for a period of time, but he said that because of my neurodevelopmental disorder, I can't work. And I never asked him to say that. I'm not really saying that I fully agree, but I am saying that I agree in the medical sense that I need a safety net so that I'm not at risk of homelessness if and when I can't keep my job because of my meltdowns, burnout. I also have PTSD, which is actually what my diagnosis is on his chart, aside from the neurodevelopmental disorder, because it's very expensive to get an autistic diagnosis as an adult. So you have to pay for the evaluation. And I would get diagnosed. I mean, I almost can guarantee it because of all the evidence that I have, and they interview you and you tell them. And so, I the PTSD diagnosis in itself is enough to get me the services that I'm seeking, and that's what's happened so far. So there's no guarantees. I don't want to jinx myself, but like, I agree with my doctor that um, I need a safety net to make sure that I don't end up homeless because of my mental health conditions. And that's something that I suspected and kind of felt for a long time, but it was too unrealistic to even think about that. And I tried to apply for disability before because I've had to go on medical leave the last year, and etc etc. So we'll see what happens. I don't know for sure what will happen, but like I'm trying to say, even though it's uncertain, it feels more authentic, and it feels more, I feel more at peace. I feel more like myself. I feel more comfortable as who I am, and less concerned about what people think about me. And as long as I have my resources to have a roof over my head and food and, my cat, I'm happy as a clam. Life is meaningful. You go, if you're lucky, you'll meet a couple of people that you resonate with. Um, if you're really lucky, you'll live somewhere that you think is beautiful, and I do. And so you don't really need a whole lot. And I think I needed my life to get so hard and to kind of sort of fall apart before I could let go of some of those demands that I had, like I was saying about not even wanting to take a substitute job because I would make less money and my partner would be supporting me more, and I didn't want that, and I was afraid of it. But then it ended up that she was having to support me totally, and it was unsustainable. So I could feel the whole time that I was fighting something, but I was too scared. I was too scared to be vulnerable. And maybe in a way I knew that this would have to happen, that everything would have to fall apart in order for the truth to grow up out of it, and I didn't want that to happen. So this eclipse season is kind of has been about that, from everything that I've been seeing online. all the psychics, the astrologers, all the people that listen to them are talking about how their lives have been falling apart too lately. And last night I went out to look at the eclipse, and I'll put a little clip of that here at the end. Enjoy. Bye.